Good evening and welcome to Newsnight. Tonight we'll have all your international, national, and local news. I'm Cade Montgomery.
And I'm Juliana Brock. The state of Florida has passed new regulations on DEI programs in its schools. We'll have the details for you here.
Also, a Pittsburgh college is getting a new school after over a century of petition. Find out why it has taken so long and what the university plans to do with the school.
All this and more coming up on Newsnight.
In Paris, Men's Fashion Week has recently been all the rage. Designer decided to focus their collection for this season on a topic that is all too real for many, exploring modern masculinity in a social media-driven world. Designer Jonathan Anderson recently explored this topic in his latest collection from Lowe. The show space was transformed using art by artist Richard Hawkins and was described by ABC News as, quote, a visual assault on the senses, setting the stage for a collection as rich in narrative as in aesthetic, end quote. Anderson explored a topic that is very important in today's society, yet still massively under-discussed in mainstream media. How social media is ever evolving and changing, and how celebrities are beginning to reshape the way that many look at masculinity.
Ireland and the UK feel the effects as Storm Isha slams their areas, causing damage and delays. Storm Isha initially hit on Monday, January 22nd, bringing heavy rain and wind gusts up to 110 miles per hour. Roads and railways are blocked with toppled trees and debris. Isha is the 9th named storm to hit these areas since September. A 10th storm named Jocelyn is expected to hit these areas within the next week. The UK's Met Office Weather Service issued an unusual wind warning before Isha's arrival. Tens of thousands of people were left without electricity, and the work to restore power has been ongoing since Monday. Isha resulted in 4 deaths, 2 of them being motorists who lost their lives when striking the toppled trees blocking the roadways. Hundreds of trains were canceled. Davy Beck, Chief Superintendent of Police Service of Northern Ireland, called many roads, quote, impassable Monday morning. The damage is seen throughout the area as firefighters in North Yorkshire had rescued people from flooded cars, and an alpaca shed was blown into the road in Huddersfield, an area outside Leeds in northern England. Planes were diverted and many were rerouted, leading to thousands of people waking up in the wrong destination and some in the wrong country. The area is now preparing for Storm Jocelyn, which is forecasted to be less powerful than Isha, but still rendering significant damage following closely to Isha. The cause of these storms is anticipated to be connected to climate change, but for now, the area prepares for their 10th storm since September.
The World Health Organization Director General Tedros Ghebreyesus has called for all nations to sign onto the organization's pandemic treaty so the world can be prepared for Disease X. Disease X is a placeholder name for a virus not yet formed, but scientists claim it could be 20 times more deadly than COVID. As Ghebreyesus spoke to the World Economic Forum last week, he said he hoped the countries would reach an agreement by May to combat this, quote, common enemy, end quote. He mentioned that COVID was the first Disease X, but it is important to prepare for another pandemic, saying, quote, there are things that are unknown that may happen, and anything happening is a matter of when, not if. So we need to have a placeholder for that, for the diseases we don't know, end quote. He also said that a shared response via the treaty would help the world better to react to another outbreak. The Biden administration began negotiating the treaty last year. However, Republicans have fiercely criticized it, saying that it would cede American sovereignty. The National Opinion Research Center has come out with polling on Russians' thoughts of the country's current state of affairs. Reporter Robert Fornatero has the details.
A recent poll conducted in Russia discovered shocking opinions about Putin and the Ukraine war. The poll, originally conducted last November, found positive opinions toward Putin, with 65% of respondents reporting they would vote for Putin in the upcoming 2024 Russian election. Those surveyed also showed support for the almost 2-year-old war against the Ukraine, with the main reason being to, quote, defend the country from the US and NATO, end quote. The survey mentioned the difficulty behind obtaining trustworthy data due to the country's limited freedom of speech and Russia's involvement in the current conflict. Russia's 8th presidential election is set for March 15th through 18th, with Putin announcing his run last December.
The Al-Assad Air Base in Iraq came under fire Saturday, injuring U.S. personnel and seriously wounding one member of Iraq's security forces. The base came under a tactical missile strike, and more than 15 U.S. Patriot missiles were fired to intercept. However, some of the rockets got through, according to Fox News. The Islamic Resistance in Iraq, a terrorist group backed by Iran, claimed responsibility for the attack. A Defense Department official told Fox News that the missiles were launched from inside Iraq and 2 U.S. personnel suffered, quote, traumatic brain injuries, end quote. Since the Israel-Hamas war started in October, the U.S. military has been attacked at least 58 times in Iraq and another 83 times in Syria. These attacks have been carried out by Iran-backed militias and include the use of missiles and one-way attack drones, according to Reuters. The latest attack comes after 3 armed drones were shot down in Iraq on Tuesday near U.S. and international military installations. The leader of a cult in Kenya has been recently arrested for the deaths of his followers. Reporter Logar Abdus has the story.
Doomsday cult leader Paul Mackenzie is set to be charged with 191 counts of child murder, along with other terrorism-related charges. According to Kenyan authorities, Mackenzie, the head of the Good News International Church, was arrested last April after a mass grave of his followers was discovered in the Shakahola forest of southeastern Kenya. The former taxi driver turned televangelist had urged his followers to starve themselves to reach heaven before the apocalypse. Over 400 bodies were exhumed from several hundred acres of forest. Autopsies revealed that a majority had died from hunger, but some, including children, showed signs of being strangled, beaten, and suffocated. 95 people in total are set to be charged in relation to what is now being referred as the Shakahola Forest Massacre. Mackenzie, who denied the allegations against him, had relocated to the forest with his followers in 2019 after his church was closed for allegedly preaching that children should not attend school. He is currently serving a prison sentence after being convicted of operating a film studio without a license.
After the break, Ohio is currently debating its policies surrounding gender-affirming care. We have the details for you coming up. Also, hear about the state of Iowa suing a major social media platform. Don't go away. This past weekend, many parts of the United States were hit with a cold blast of Arctic air. According to NBC News, tens of millions have endured intense colds and have faced dangerous icy conditions. On Saturday, forecasters warned that weather-related deaths have topped 60 and could continue to rise. NBC News reported that many of the deaths were reported to be found in Tennessee or Oregon. Heavy snow on Friday was the cause of cold conditions and dangerous road conditions leading into the weekend. It was also reported that emergency officials in Mississippi stated on Saturday, quote, frostbite and hypothermia are likely with prolonged outdoor exposure, end quote. Stay tuned until the end of the show, where our weather reporter, Brendan McNamara, will keep you updated with what to look out for in our area this upcoming week.
A 65-year-old man was rescued from an icy lake by an unexpected hero, his dog Ruby. On Thursday, January 18th, a man fell into Arbutus Lake in Traverse City, Michigan. Michigan State Police Officer Cameron Bennett showed up to find the man with only his head and shoulders above the thin ice, Ruby standing alongside him. Bennett's body cam footage showed him attempting to throw a rescue disc out to the man, but the attempt failed. With quick thinking skills, Bennett asked the man if he could call Ruby over to him. She obeyed, allowing Bennett to tie the rescue disc around her neck, having the man call for Ruby to come back over to him. The man was able to grab onto the disc and have Ruby pull him out of the icy waters, while Bennett shouted orders for him to kick his feet to come to the surface. Bennett and a local firefighter were then able to grab a hold of the man and pull him out of the water to safety. The man was taken to the hospital for treatment, and state police applauded Bennett and Ruby for their teamwork. The agency posted, quote, "What a good girl. Amazing ice rescue from 7th District MCO Bennett. Creative thinking helped save the life. Excellent job, MCO Bennett and Ruby," end quote.
Ohio's Governor Mike DeWine unleashed that new proposals could potentially block gender affirming care to thousands in the state who need it. Currently, 22 states restrict access to minors, but adult restrictions are extremely rare. Florida is the only state to impose an adult restriction, making Ohio's potential ban all the more worrisome. DeWine's proposals include patients under 21 having to undergo at least 6 months of counseling before undergoing treatment, as well as providers being banned from advising minors for treatment elsewhere in another state. For now, there is no set date as to when these restrictions will be set in place. In another strike against the state's diversity movement, Florida has passed new regulations regarding DEI programs. Reporter Alex Zonizer has more details on that story.
The Florida Board of Education passed regulations that limit using public funds for diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives on public college campuses. State or federal funds will be prohibited from being used for DEI programs which could impact classes, clubs, and other programs offered at Florida campuses. The Florida Board of Education defines DEI as, quote, any program, campus activity, or policy that classifies individuals on the basis of race, color, sex, national origin, gender identity, or sexual orientation, and promotes differential or preferential treatment of individuals on the basis of such classification, end quote. DEI's actual goal is to correct inequities within an organization for marginalized groups. Without DEI on college campuses, some students may not get the opportunities that other students get. There is a bench trial set for October 2024 to decide the fate of the legislation.
Hot Mess Express is a nonprofit organization that helps fellow mothers in need. Recently, they surprised Mariah Harris, a mom of 3 who just welcomed another baby to her family. Harris is a full-time working mother who reached out for asking a helping hand. Jen Hamilton, the founder of the group, explained, quote, "The Hot Mess Express is just a group of moms who come together to rescue other moms who are struggling. We go into her space and we do dishes, laundry, organization. We basically just give her a house reset so that she can feel better," end quote. Today, the group spans across the country with hundreds of mothers who are continuing to support other moms in their time of need. TikTok is in yet another lawsuit regarding its content geared towards minors. Reporter Robert Fornatero has the details on this lawsuit. Robert?
Iowa, among many other states, has issued a lawsuit against the popular social media app TikTok for allegedly misleading parents about its content. Iowa's Attorney General, Brenna Bird, filed a lawsuit on Wednesday, January 17th, accusing the app of misleading parents about the inappropriate content available to children. In the lawsuit, Bird accuses TikTok and its parent company, ByteDance, of lying about the nature of the app, which includes nudity, profanity, and drug and alcohol use. Bird later said in an interview, quote, "It's time we shine a light on TikTok for exposing young children to graphic materials such as sexual content, self-harm, illegal drug use, and worse," end quote. Iowa is one of many states in recent times to voice this concern. Other states, including Michigan, Indiana, Utah, and Arkansas, have all filed similar cases. Currently, Iowa is seeking financial penalties and an order preventing the parent company, ByteDance, from engaging in deceptive and unfair content.
Coming up, a local pub is getting a second wind after tragedy hit the owner's family. Also, a new record has been broken at a local casino. All this and more when we return. beloved Irish pub and grill in Lower Borough will soon be reopening after the tragic death of the owner last month. In December of last year, David McGill, more commonly known as Mogi, was shot outside of his business, Mogi's Irish Pub. McGill was a major part of the community, and since his death, many community members and business patrons have been wondering what would become of the pub that was known as a staple in the community, similar to its owner. David McGill's daughter, Kelsey McGill, told WTAE-TV that she plans on taking over the business alongside her brother, Connor. Kelsey told WTAE, quote, "Our father has done everything for us, and my brother and I thought this would be the very least we could do for him by honoring and running what was his dream," end quote. She also added, quote, "I just want people to remember him for what he did and what he was, not what was done to him," end quote. No exact reopening date has been announced, but the family hopes to reopen around the end of January or early February.
5 firefighters were injured while battling a 5-alarm fire in Homestead. The incident took place on Saturday, January 20th around 9:30 in the morning. 3 row houses caught fire, causing 2 of the home's roofs to collapse. While battling the flames, 2 firefighters fell through the first floor into the basement. A statement released on Monday by an Allegheny County spokesperson stated, quote, "2 of the firefighters received minor to moderate burn spots and general pain and bumps from falling through the first floor to the basement. It is possible that one of them was headed back into the hospital Sunday for previously undetected broken ribs," end quote. 2 of the other injured firefighters suffered shoulder injuries, and the third had difficulty breathing after the incident. There were winter weather conditions with temperatures below freezing, causing issues with frozen fire hydrants. 8 residents were able to escape from the fire without injuries, but are now displaced. The cause of the fire is unknown, but the investigation continues.
A foundation based in West Virginia that helps children with cancer is planting roots right here in Pittsburgh. The Walking Miracles Family Foundation began in 2012, started by cancer survivor and trained counselor Brett Wilson. Since it's open, it has provided travel assistance, education, and resources to over 500 families affected with cancer. Families can apply up to twice a year for $250 each time for travel assistance and receive, quote, "packages of hope," end quote, which contain a shirt, electronic tablet, and travel assistance card. The foundation is currently seeking Pittsburgh community partnerships and donations to fund its Pittsburgh goal. A local university is adding a new school to its available curriculum. Reporter Logar Abdus has the details on how it was implemented.
After more than a century, Duquesne University welcomed its inaugural class of medical students last Wednesday. The opening comes during a nationwide shortage of primary care physicians. Over 2,500 individuals competed for the 85 available first-year slots. Plans have been in the works for Duquesne University's College of Medicine since 1910, when the then Pittsburgh Catholic College was looking to expand into the fields of both law and medicine. However, plans were continuously shelved due to lack of community support until 2018. Students of the inaugural class will have the opportunity to learn from both traditional methods and a new holoanatomy virtual reality anatomy lab by wearing a virtual reality headset. Students can view a hologram of the human body complete with detailed looks previous generations of medical students could never have imagined. Duquesne President Ken Gormley said in a statement, quote, "The opening of the medical school is a significant moment in the university's history. The medical school will promote equitable access to health care, especially in urban and rural undeserved areas, by educating and training the next generation of physicians for this region and beyond," end quote. Duquesne hopes to increase the number of students per class to 170 beginning in 2026.
Someone went home $1.4 million richer Sunday morning after breaking the record for the largest jackpot at the Rivers Casino. The lucky winner played Pai Gow Poker in the progressive jackpot that had been steadily climbing the past few days. Pai Gow Poker is a game that uses playing cards rather than the traditional Pai Gow Chinese dominoes and requires you to play head-to-head with the dealer with an optional bonus bet. After placing 2 additional $5 wagers, the player won after being dealt a straight flush, including cards 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, and 4 of the clubs, according to the club's release. The casino has yet not released the name of the winner. Pittsburgh's Tree of Life Memoriam has been a staple of our community and Jewish culture, but it is now being demolished for a new building. Reporter Alex Zonizer has the story. Alex?
Demolition of the Tree of Life building, the site of the deadliest anti-Semitic attack in American history, began on Wednesday, January 17th. The plan is to build a new Tree of Life site with 80% of the original structure being taken down. There will also be a memorial constructed at the old site. This memorial will consist of the walls of the sanctuary of the original structure and is designed to honor each of the 11 people who were killed in the Tree of Life shooting. The board chair of the Tree of Life, Inc., the parent company overseeing the project, Michael Bernstein, said, quote, "I think it's a bittersweet day. I think on one hand, we've been putting in a lot of work and planning for this next phase and the reimagining. And certainly, this is a hard start to that. At the same time, I think for many of the members of the congregation who for years have had a lot of family celebrations and life cycle events, seeing the building come down is certainly a chapter closing that has a lot of memories and heartache to it as well." End quote. Demolition will continue over the next month, and the start of construction is set to start in the summer or the third quarter of the year. It is estimated to take about 2 years to complete. You can donate to the fundraiser for the project at rememberrebuildrenew.org/donate.
Coming up after the break, hear about how a dog saved an entire town from a deadly situation, and learn about this week's Pittsburgh weather forecast. You won't want to miss this. Kobe the Husky saved his Philadelphia neighborhood from a dangerous gas leak just a few days before Christmas. It all began when Kobe's owner, Chanel Bell, noticed her dog digging a large hole in front of the concrete sidewalk. She quickly realized this was not Kobe's normal behavior and quickly tested the air for gas. Sure enough, there was a gas leak that the gas utility company was able to fix after several days. If it wasn't for Kobe's nose, something as simple as a match could have set off an explosion. After all his hard work, Kobe even had a book written after him and his heroic efforts titled "The Dog That Saved the Block Before Christmas." Pittsburgh weather has been rather nasty and cold this past week. Will the weather stay this gloomy, or will the sun shine once again? First-time weather reporter Brendan McNamara has the answer. Brendan?
Thank you, Cade. Downtown Pittsburgh's weather has finally left the below freezing temperatures we've been dealing with for the past 2 weeks. The winter storm that hit the U.S. is finally winding down, and that means temperatures are rising, and the gray Pittsburgh sky has of course returned. Tomorrow's weather will reach a high of 54 degrees in the afternoon, and that'll go down to a low of 48 degrees after sunset. Throughout the very cloudy day, we will see some light rain hitting the area for a few hours, and we will have some sustained winds of 4 miles per hour, with gusts up to 7 miles per hour. We are not completely out of the cold weather yet, because this upcoming week will stay around the late 40s and mid to late 50s at its highest temperature, while the next few days will feel a low of 39 with high chances of rain. We will finally see the sun this week, as it will continue to remain in the 40s with lows in the early 30s. This week will be a great example of how temperatures will continue to fluctuate every couple of days. Stay safe, stay warm, and make sure to check the weather every day to plan ahead. back to you at the desk.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of NewsNight. If you want to see more, check out our social media pages on both Facebook and Instagram at UView Television.
You can also check out more episodes on our YouTube channel or our website, uview.pointpark.edu. I'm Juliana Brock.
And I'm Cade Montgomery. From everyone here at NewsNight, thank you for watching and have a great evening.